Hello. This video will just be like, it'll serve as things, one as a mic test, and second to show off these little, little big ladies that I've, made. And as you can see from the descriptions, they're pretty in-depth. I do plan on making a forum video uh, on these two, and, the SS Poland that probably has uh, the most of the entire class, the most like lore. She had big speed, I believe, 29 or 30 knots was her regular uh, regular cruising speed, which was pretty outmatched. Her max speed was actually 32 knots. But the second ship, the SS Gdynia. Also, just saying, this was not a class. All of these ships are very different because they both have different tonnage. Yeah, they both have very different tonnage, as you can see. This is 50,000, so 30,000. God, I can't say anything today. Probably because it's late at night. Actually, not late, just night, and I'm tired and stuff. And this one's 40,000. And actually, I'm going to give a quick, more in-depth speech about the SS Poland. She was, as you can see here, finished in 1929 before the Great Depression. She entered service in 1930, and her first actual voyages were an actual transatlantic voyage because of the Great Depression. It was actually just cruises, just regular cruises, going through bodies of water such as the Baltic Sea and sometimes in the Mediterranean. But after the Great Depression ended in 1935 or 4, I believe, she started doing regular Atlantic runs. But in 1939, when when the war broke out, because Germany got mad that Poland didn't want to give them Danzig, which is currently Gdańsk in Poland, where I live. I say it in kind of English accent to be like relatable, but here in Poland we say Gdańsk. Yeah, that's how you say it. But yeah, she was evacuated promptly. She was ported in Gdynia, as well as her sisters. Actually, no, Warsaw was in Cherbourg, and Gdynia was in Athens in Greece. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but actually no. Gdynia actually was with the SS Poland in her namesake port/city. Warsaw was the one in Cherbourg. But when the actual war broke out, both of the ships evacuated Poland with thousands of just Polish civilians trying to evacuate. Poland, the SS Poland had like around 14 to 15,000 Polish civilians on board. Most of them were sleeping in the most of them were sleeping in the large public areas like the second class dining room, the first class dining room, and the third class dining room, which actually wasn't that spacious, but it served its purpose. It was pretty good. It was more of a saloon though, because third class doesn't deserve the amount of new technologies that they got. Yeah, the third class was always in cruises or Atlantic runs. It was always the most occupied class because Poland was pretty much a poor city. Actually, no, kind of. I believe it was because in In 1918, they had just regained independence because of World War One, and they had the Polish-Soviet War, which also kind of left their economy jumbling because of the amount of guns they had to get from other countries to actually defend themselves. But they won this Polish-Soviet War, and it was good. It was all good. Okay, now continuing on, this is basically a quick summary of the SS Poland's lifetime. In World War II, she was also bought out by the Royal Navy and turned into an armed troop ship. She was renamed the HMTS Jubilee and spent a long time with ships like the Aquitania, Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, and the Mauretania too. Mostly as in convoys, and one time she was actually in a convoy with the Aquitania, and the captains of the SS Poland were actually quite impressed that the ship was still keeping up after 1914, and all the stuff that's happened since then. But yeah, after the Second World War, she was again sold out to the Red and White Line, but they kept her on Atlantic runs, but it wasn't actually very useful. The SS Poland started to enter the ports it was previously entering, like Queenstown, Liverpool, and Sherbrooke to pick up more passengers, and it was starting to just get to just go from Gdynia straight to New York and not get it in any other parts. But after air travel was done, she was moved to America, and she started doing Pacific runs because because planes haven't really invaded so to say like say that they haven't invaded, I guess, that sort of business. So yeah, she started doing trans-Pacific runs from the U.S. to Hawaii and to Japan and the Philippines and Manila. And in 1962, when she left service, she was bought out by the city of Manila, and she became a floating hotel for just $3 million for the 56,000-ton vessel. Anyway, now onto the Little Sisters. SS Gdynia, she was sunk in 1944 by German Nazi battleships. She was used in the evacuation of Dunkirk, and in that I believe she evacuated like 5,000 soldiers, which was not that much, because there was 300,000 soldiers there to be evacuated, but she held them out by a small digit. But in 1944, when she was getting some supplies from Britain to Poland, she was sunk, and now the SS Warsaw. She has a short story. She was a hospital ship in World War II, and in 1956 she was scrapped because she ended up only doing cruises, and the Red and White Line never liked cruises. They thought the idea of cruising was really stupid, because they thought that just going for the actual ship, the actual luxury, was stupid. They thought that if you wanted to cross somewhere, then the luxuries are there to make it easier and not to be the main point. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed me nerding about fictional stuff. But yeah, that's it. See ya, guys.